Hello and welcome to lesson 4.2. Today we're going to look at reflections of figures. When performing reflections, we're going to use something called a line of reflection. So if you look right here at this example, you can see that line M is our line of reflection, and essentially what that means is this is kind of like the mirror. In other words, this is the line that like in this case here, point P, is going to be reflected over that line. And notice we start out with P, and when we reflect it, we get a new image called P prime. These are both the same distance away from line M. And if you were to connect point P and P prime, you would get a perpendicular bisector essentially. It does create a 90-degree angle there. If your point P is actually on that line of reflection, you're not going to notice a change in position for that point, but point P can also become P prime then. And that's only if the point lies on that line of reflection. Let's go ahead and take a look at example 1. Example 1 says to graph triangle ABC with the vertices A, B, and C and its image after the reflection is described. So for part A, we're going to reflect it over the line of y equals 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plot my points, A, B, C. I'm then going to come in and draw in that line of y equals 1. Well, if you remember the line of y equals 1, this will be a horizontal line that goes through 1. And now I'm going to reflect those points across the y-axis, across that line y equals 1. So to do that, I'm going to start out at point A, and notice that point A is 2 units, okay, in this direction off from that line. So that means A prime then is going to be 2 units below. So this is going to create A prime. B prime is only 1 unit above, so I need to go down 1 unit below. And this becomes B prime, and then you can see that C is on that line of reflection, so that means that C prime will also be on the line of reflection. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect my points, and I end up with a new image that looks like A prime, B prime, C prime. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for part B. I'm going to start out by graphing the points A, B, and C. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw in my line of x equals 3. So x equals 3 in this case is going to be a vertical line through 3 that looks something like this. And then we're going to plot the points A prime, B prime, C prime. And again, I'm going to start at A, and I notice that the distance from A to my line of reflection is 2. So that means 1, 2. I'm going to go 2 units over and create A prime. I'm going to do the same thing with B. B is also 2 units over, so B prime is going to be here, and C prime is only 1 unit off from that. So C prime is going to be here, and then I'm just going to connect those points. And now I have my reflected image. Please take a quick second to complete this example on your own. Pause the video. When you're done, you can start it back up. So for part A, I've gone ahead and plotted points A, B, and C. I've drawn in my line of reflection, which is y equals 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and reflect my points. And A, I see is right on the line, so A prime is also going to be right on that line of reflection. B prime is going to be here, and C prime will be right up here. So I'm going to end up with something that looks like this. For part B, I've plotted A, B, and C. My line of reflection, N, is at x equals -1. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my reflection. So A prime is going to be 2 units To the left of the line, C is going to be 1, 2, 3. So C prime should be 3 units off, and B is going to be 6 units off. So this is B prime, and again, I'm going to connect those points, and I now have my reflected image. Now let's take a look at example 2. Example 2 says, graph the line segment FG with endpoints given at F and G and its image after reflection over the line y equals x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my line of reflection and plot those 2 points. So here you can see my line of reflection is y equals x, which goes up at a positive slope. I've plotted my points F and G, and now I'm going to have to reflect them over that line. Well, to do so, you can kind of see, if I start out with F, if you draw lines like that would be perpendicular to our line of reflection, you can see that it's about 1.5 units away if you go through the diagonal. So when I reflect across this line, F is going to be about 1/2, and then another one, so I should be right here at about 2, -1, and this will become F prime. And then when I look at G, I see that G is like 1/2 unit off from that. So that means G prime is also going to have to be 1/2 unit. So we'll call this G prime. And now we'll connect our 2 points. And you'll see now that we get a vertical line, F prime, G prime. Again, for this example, please pause the video, try it, and then come back and look at the solution. Here I've plotted my A and my B and my line y equals x, which I'm calling line N. And I'm going to go ahead and reflect AB over that line. And when I do, I get something like that here in the green, which is A prime, B prime. Now, when we're reflecting things over a y-axis or an x-axis, there are some shortcuts that we can use. If you take a coordinate point AB and you're going over the x-axis, okay, notice it's x-axis here, we can take those coordinate points, our x value will stay the same, and I remember that because it's x-axis. So when the x-axis stays, or we're going over the x-axis, our x coordinate will stay the same, but I'm going to change the sign of the y coordinate. Likewise, if we're reflecting something over the y-axis, here, I'm going to keep my y value the same and change the sign of the x value. So x-axis, x coordinate stays the same, y coordinate changes sign. For the y-axis, your x coordinate changes sign and your y coordinate stays the same. Now, when we're looking at reflecting over the line y equals x, what we're going to do is we're actually going to flip-flop the coordinate points A and B. So the new coordinate point then will become BA, and you can see that right here. Likewise, if I'm going over the line y equals a -x, I'm still going to flip-flop A and B. However, A and B are both going to change signs as well. So let's take a look at one last example and see how this works. So example 3 says that we're going to graph FG with endpoints F -1, 2 and G at 1, 2, and its image after reflection in the line y equals -x. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start out by plotting our points and drawing in that line of y equals -x. Okay, so now I have my line segment FG drawn. The red line here is y equals -x. And you can go ahead and use what we've been doing before, where you kind of count off that line of reflection, how many units we need to move, or we can use the fact that we said that when we had a reflection over the line y equals -x, we said that our coordinate point AB was going to switch, so B and A are going to switch, and then because this is a -x, I am going to change the signs of both of these. So what that means for us is that when I look at F which was at negative 1, 2, f prime is now going to become, I'm going to flip-flop the negative 1 and the 2, so the 2 will be up front. The negative 1 goes to the back, or in the y position, and then I have to change the signs of both of those. So my positive 2 becomes negative, my negative 1 becomes positive. So now f prime is going to be at the location negative 2, positive 1, or right here. Likewise, for my g coordinate, g started out at 1, 2. And when I go to do my g prime, I'm going to flip-flop my 1 and 2. And because it's over the line y equals negative x, I also have to change their signs. So f, or g prime now, is going to become negative 2, negative 1, or g prime. And I'm going to connect these 2 points. This here is the last example that you're going to try on your own for today. Please pause the video and come back and double check your work. So here I've plotted the line segment AB. I have my line of reflection, and I've rewritten my coordinate points. So now A prime, because I'm going over the line y equals negative x, I'm going to flip-flop my 3 and negative 1, and then I'm also going to change their sign. So this is going to become a positive 1 and a negative 3, and B prime is going to become a negative 2 and a negative 3. So I'm going to plot these points. So I have A prime and B prime, and connect those, and I am done. Please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great day.